As I was growing up, we never had mirrors in our house. Since I was homeschooled, it had never occurred to me that this was odd behavior. Mother had always made it abundantly clear that mirrors showed our true selves, and that by glimpsing into them, you were allowing a gateway for this other being to take over your body to do evil things. Since I had no one else to rely on for such common information, I didn't know any better. My father, while I was still young, ended up leaving, saying that the person he fell in love with just wasn't there anymore. I was too young to understand, too naive to think otherwise, as my mother started to look more and more distressed after my father had left. At first, it was small changes, but things started to become more noticeable as I grew older. Anything that had a reflective surface was painted over, or a version that was matte in color was purchased instead. At some point, she refused me having any more pets, saying that it was too much trouble. They always turned up dead. I always grieved afterwards, so maybe that was why she didn't want me to have one anymore, so I don't go through the sadness all over again. Now into adulthood, I separated myself from my controlling mother, having last heard of her when she was admitted into the mental institution for schizophrenia. My new wife wanted us to go meet her, but I told her to forget it. I didn't want the stress. Thanks to her, I knew the truth about the mirrors, and that it was just my mother playing mind games. But even then, it was hard to shake the feeling that I shouldn't look in the mirror. I guess old habits die hard. One night, as I walked through the hall, I passed a mirror that was hung up on the wall, and I swore I could see movement from the corner of my eye. Without much thought, I looked, and it was like I blacked out. When I became aware again, I was back in front of the mirror, while the socks I wore were feeling cold and drenched. I looked down to see a dark stain, but it was hard to tell since there wasn't any lights on. Feeling around, I felt soft and squishy bits of cut up pieces, along with what felt like piles of hair, followed by the touch of cold steel. Upon lifting it up, I realized that it was a knife, and that coldness was blood. My wife's blood. With wide eyes, I met my own gaze in the mirror, staring at what should have been a look of terror, but instead, I was greeted with a smile that was not my own, and a voice that came from me, but the words felt unfamiliar. No matter how hard our mother tried to stop us, I will always find a way.